Today's video, we are going to explore what I feel is my current biggest weakness as a Go player. And no, it's not wearing a green dinosaur costume in front of a green screen. As dumb as that is, that's what I'm doing right now. That's not it. We're actually talking about something that's been sticking in a lot of my games for over years now. We're like, this is like a pretty common feature. And I played a 5-Dan Taijim game this morning. It was actually, let me think, if I won that game in my next game, I would level up to 6-Dan. So it was a penultimate ranking game. And this is a game where, oh man, there's gonna be one spot on the board that is just a blind spot to me. And so I'll take you through the game, won't go through every move, but show you, my biggest weakness. In other words, how do you beat Nick Sibicky at Go? Because apparently it's to do this. And I can't seem to get over it. We can talk about why. All right. So we've got the robot going here. This is Leela 0 running Elf as the weights. I could put, I think the Leela weights are, or Lizzie, sorry, this is Lizzie interface running Elf. I could put the Leela 0 weights in here as well, and I think they're actually a little bit stronger, but Elf is just so snap fast that it's useful for doing these sorts of live things. Okay, so I am black in this game, and this is the position, and so far this is going great. The robot thinks, black is having a good game, and I got some choices. Black thinks the top left is biggest, but basically just play a big point. And certainly, I take the bottom one just because I feel like, I just believe in like being the thorn in my opponent's side, right? So my opponent has an area where they can develop on a large scale. That's where I want to be safest. But obviously, Elf disagrees and just continues playing fast big moves. No problem. White pincers here, and this is a little bit of a surprise to be this early. Again, there are just so many big moves left. And this is actually a really cool move that's totally not my radar that I just learned from the robot today. Playing here in this case. And I've seen this before, but not, it's just not part of my usual vocabulary that I was looking at. I was assuming that this is where I'd play next. And this gives you a very normal, regular result. But this one is super cool. Robot says this is the best that white can do. In which case you basically just get a little bit stronger here to not come under attack. You get out instead of making a base. But often your opponent will play here, and then you can actually just kind of settle this way. And in this case, Elf actually wants you to give up the corner and take the outside and take another big move, like this, attack the white stone. Oh, sorry. And, attack on a large scale. So you give up a big corner, but you get all the momentum, all the initiative on the outside. So Elf likes that very much. But even if you don't want to do that and you just want to make a group in the corner, this is actually a very nice way to do so. So I'm going to have to remember this move, especially with a 2-space pincer, and you just are looking to settle or get stronger. This is I've played this in handicap games, believe it or not, right? Because you usually make this kind of exchange and then can try something like this, although this is apparently terrible. This isn't quite the right situation for it. Yeah, this is usually on a 4-3, not a 4-4 corner. Okay, anyway. It's not really my biggest mistake here. The game, I play a more normal pattern. My opponent takes the outside, and Elf is so in love with just territory and big moves that it's like black is super winning. I play out the quasi Joseki here. And even this move, Elf wants me to connect here. And this is the move that's going to be the bane of my existence for this game. It's going to keep coming back over and over and over again. And it's a move that is my biggest weakness, right? In other words, getting a group out of trouble, or like running a weak group out, is something that I constantly avoid doing in my games. And that may not seem like a bad thing, but there's times when it's the best thing to do is actually save a weak group. And so often I just refuse to do it. I'll just go do something else that I feel is bigger. And I wait and I delay and I never save these weak groups or make real, I want to call it like a tar baby, something gunking up, my opponent's territory or development or even groups or strength. I just have a hard time committing to these weak-ish running things. And so in the game, I plan on here. I just settle the corner. I'm like, okay, we're good. My opponent, he cleans up the group immediately. He's like, sure, I will fix that, no problem. And at this point, I'm kind of happy, right? I'm thinking, look, I've got the corner, I've got Sente, I've got a strong group in the middle of the white sphere of influence. I get to play the next move, and I still have this Aji here. So I go and take the next biggest move that I can find, which is this high enclosure. Meanwhile, amazingly, the robot still wants me to run this out, even after white has played this Hane. And this sequence is very cool. This looks terrible for black, right? Like, I should actually turn the robot off, go forward. This sequence looks terrible. Look at these 3 black stones. Look how terrible they are. But Elf found this little really cool cut, I guess. That looks dumb, but it's great, right? White has to capture it. If white does anything else, white just dies. So if white captures it, black plays here. And this still looks awful for black. I can't stress how awful this still looks for black. White blocks. Look, we're still going to die as black, right? Even if we take this, like we're still going to die. Isn't this awful? This is just, yeah, like 99% win rate for white, right? But that's not what you do here, right? What you're actually doing is, hold on, what just happened? Let's turn it off the robot. Can't think with too many circles going on. When white plays here, you can taking is good. But then when white plays here, instead of connecting, you have to play this move. And black shape looks dumb. Like, this is dumb. But what you're threatening is something substantial. Because now you can come out like this, and all of a sudden this white group down here is under a pretty severe attack. And especially since black already invested another stone in the bottom, we're in the middle of white sphere of influence, and we're the one who's doing the attacking. Let's see what the robot says. It should go something like this. And there's going to be a push-cut fight here, maybe. Maybe not. Anyway, black basically connects up this running stupid thing to the more or less live group. And what did black get out of this? Well, really not much, but this was white's major area of development. So black still gets to keep the corner, still has some influence. Maybe there's a poke here or two, but in general, this is fine. Like, black is good. Like, robot likes black very much. And so going back for a second, my feeling is that, oh, when I get to this point in the game, I can do this anytime. I should go do some other big things first, and I'll run this out later, right? And if I can run out a group that's going to attack 2 weak groups, I'll do it immediately. But if I'm going to have a weak group and my opponent's going to have a weak group, that's just a fair fight. That's not that interesting, right? It's everybody is fair. It's, you know, go play a big move. That's my usual feeling. But robot really likes this. Robot's like, look, this is the only area of the game you have to worry about, right? If this wall never does anything, we win. The black wins the game, right? You're already up on territory, and that's all there is. You win by your 3 to 5 points. So I take a big point. White takes a big point. Back off. White plays this, which, you know, modern Go we'd expect to play here, but that's fine. The robot does not like my next move. I'm still, this is a very passive move. I'm still thinking I've got plenty of time to run this out. White can't really build anything big here yet because they're still Aji. And so I play this move. Let's see what the robot thinks of this move. Robot's totally not on the radar. Very soft move. It's like an 8% loss. Black's still winning. Like, this move has value. It's really going to prevent white from attacking you. I'm also really just trying to forestall white doing this kind of stuff. And just making me feel very cramped. Also, white will get a big corner in this variation. I mean, you can see that my move has value. Plus, now, these 2 stones, their base is actually kind of undercut. And so if I want to invade the right, it's very possible now, right? This stone does not fully connect this corner to this stone. There's plenty of great places to invade and reduce this. So I'm sort of thinking this is a prep move. It's really not a big enough prep move. Again, the robot says invade directly, or, you know, go over here, run the stone out, or just reduce it directly and threaten to run the stone out. So this move's a little bit soft, but it doesn't change the fate of the game. White leans on this. And here I play another soft move here. I should probably just poke up. Again, just put a little more pressure on the Moyo. But again, my mental state is still, this is white's sphere of influence. Let me just play super solid. And now, you know, white, I can do whatever I want, essentially, right? I have no weaknesses on this board. This is the type of position that I generally like. These are the positions I genuinely do well in. One of my strengths is positional judgment in terms of territory size and how risky do I have to be at any given point. And, you know, if I have a no-risk board, that means I can play really risky things. I can play whatever I want. So we can see what that looks like a little bit. White approaches here. And again, Robot still says, run out this weak group. This is the time, even especially after this stone, right? This white group will come under attack immediately. And I respond to white's approach with an invasion of my own, right? I'm like, I have no problems on this board. There's no reason for me to do anything cleanly or you know, justifiably. Let's just do whatever I feel like doing. In this case, though, right, this, you know, it says this is a 10% loss compared to all these other choices. Well, mainly, actually, it was really just one choice, I guess, running out the group. Got to do it. Have to take advantage of my strength down here. That's the thing I'm not doing. I'm not willing to run out the group. And that's just an instinct. It's just, where do you invest your time when you're reading out moves and coming up with candidates on the Go board? If you are a really good Tetsuji player, right, you'll be reading lots of fighting shapes and looking for key points. If you're a really good Moyo player, you'll be looking at big points and big extensions. Maybe you're just really good at Joseki, and so you know you're looking for places you can play the patterns you know, and that's where you invest your time. Well, for me, I can tell you the time I don't invest my time in enough is moves like this, because I look at it and I go, okay, white's going to play here, and I don't know what the next move is. And if you can't find the next move, well, you kind of have a problem. Like that's kind of it. And so actually in this case, white would even have a, could play this way and kill you. What am I trying to say? Like, you really have to, you also have to find this move in order to get this to work. But I'm mad at myself, right? The reason why I'm saying it's my biggest weakness is because I just didn't even invest the time, right, to really see, okay, when is this possible? I just knew after the game, I was like, you know, I never ran out that group. And oh man, this is going to get comical, right, in terms of how long I ignore this. Anyway, oh, this is not the game. Go back. There we go. So I invade. White plays here. And we have a little bit of a sparring. This is totally the wrong Joseki. I just have been playing this Joseki whenever I can lately. It's just kind of a new hotness thing. So totally misappropriate use of Joseki here. I know Q players do this all the time, right? They learn a new Joseki and they just throw it into all the completely wrong situations. Of course, I should just keep this game a 50-50 game. And well, still wants me to run out this stone. But basically do something here on the right to break this up or attack something. Anyway, I play this one, and my opponent plays the Satari. The Satari is not very good. Shouldn't play it now because it's going to take away this move later. And in this case, so this is the weird thing. Again, I kind of tricked myself twice here. All right, so here we'll do a little mini excursion lesson right here. This Tiger's Mouth is one of the new hotnesses. And one of the reasons why white doesn't Atari is because then it makes this move for white later so much weaker. That's why I kind of fall into the trap twice, right? Because this is not the time where I should be playing this new hotness Joseki. That's number one. But after white takes this Atari, again, this white move at 47 isn't as good. And so when white plays here, yeah, this move is still a move for black. But do you see how the percentage like importance goes down? Like, is this all of a sudden less important? And that's because white made this exchange. If, let's see here, if we don't make that exchange, look at, do you guys see the number difference? Now it's like black should definitely play there. Because once black gets stronger here, when white leans on this, it's not a big deal. And so if white plays here and black Tanukis playing here, this is actually a really big deal, right? It threatens to actually corrupt black's shape a little bit with this Atari, and white gets out faster. I don't think I did a good job explaining the subtleties of playing this Tiger's Mouth and why white doesn't play this Atari. but it basically is white doesn't play this Atari because this point's important for both players. So anyway, in the game, white plays it and then backs off. And that should immediately just do something else, right? Like jump out, you know, coming here, running the group. All these are good things. So anyway, this is the normal shape point, again, without that exchange, but now black's actually over-concentrated. It's another way to think about it. And then white plays here. And again, robot's like, ignore this, just run this group out. Start an attack, get something else going. Like, ignore this approach, ignore this invasion, just still run the group out. And it's so far not on my radar. So far not on my radar. White plays the inside, which I think... and they're about even. Actually, this is starting to like the inside one more. Yeah, I was going to say, I thought this side was correct. Oh, no. Wow, the robot's... wow. Usually don't see it climb a full percentage point after it initially finds a candidate. Wow, but the robot is now liking the outside Atari more. That's weird. Cool. Oh, now it's coming way back down. These numbers are flying around a lot. These are not stable at all. All right, well... either one seems to be fine. Actually, it looks like it's gravitating back to like a 50-50 game. Like robot's like, I don't know who it's good for. Plays the outside, and this is the type of Joseki you want to play when you have all the ladders. I do not. It's still playable if you don't have all the ladders. Basically, what the idea is, you should take outside thickness. And I don't do a very good job of that. Like, I do an okay job of that, but the robot variation is a little bit better. I'll just show you my variation because this isn't really the point. I extend here. This extension was particularly slow. So that's a problem. And I play this move, which is much too aggressive. Right now, it's still basically 50-50 game, right? If I just turn here, I still have all this outside thickness. If white responds again down here, now that I'm a little bit stronger on the outside, run out the group. Still amazing. All right, so I play this move, and then I overplay here a little bit. White should, you know, push and fight. White just kind of backs off. And I play this other clunker of a move here. Not even sure why. I'm just praying for Aji. I'm playing I can make use of this stone somehow. White responds again. And even now, the robot's still like, here, just collect your outside thickness, and then you can run out this group and then deal with the rest of the board. But I ignore that to play this pincer and put the pressure on this stone. And at this point, you can see on the graph that we're at a pretty low point in this game. Of course, it's going to get worse. You guys can see how the game's going to end. Like, it's not going to end great. I really want to show you this one spike here. This is a very exciting spike that almost happened. But here, like you know, as long as white can just manage this one group, white already has a nice amount of cash. Yes, black can still threaten to run this out, but black, you know, after white solidifies some fifth line territory, white can suffer a little bit and still be fine in terms of points. So white jumps out. I kick, which really doesn't like. Again, now black's like, the robot's like telling black, here, just run the group out. This is your only chance. Still, just not on my radar. Not on my radar. Running out these weak groups is not a thing Nick Sibicky does. I kind of refuse to do it, much to my own detriment. So I stand, saying white should invade. He plays a couple really bad exchanges here. He's just committed to this group. And maybe he might even be scared of this wall or this Aji or something, but he plays very frightened here, taking this Hane and Atari combination so bad because all of a sudden now black got a 15-point corner, just like boom. Before all this was kind of open. Even right now, like white could play in here and actually invade this corner space. And if black wanted to kill this stone and take this, well, white would eat the whole corner. And, you know, there's lots of other variations if black tried to keep the corner. Well, black is now going to be fighting behind this white group that is going to take everything else, so... this is a good response if your opponent does not respond to the large knight approach. Okay, anyway, white just jumps out, is trying to keep the game simple. I kick, and again, white is just trying to keep the game really simple and keep this group strong, so isn't looking for any of these extra invasion points. And boom, we're back to a 50-50 game. I play this one, I play this one, and then this time, the robot's like, okay, you should really just fix this. This is pretty big. And it gives black just a lot of central influence if you actually start looking at the territory. Yes, white has this big chunk, and a little bit here, and a little tiny bit here, and that's it. And meanwhile, black, this looks like a pretty sizable chunk. This is a big chunk. This is not a small invasion group, and this is a medium-sized, medium-small corner. So in terms of territory, this is an okay game for black. Like, it's tight, it's close, but man, is it not? It's fine. Like, it's like we have enough points to win. We just have to make sure that nothing gets in trouble, nothing bad happens, and it's all because of these white exchanges. But in the game, I push again, and white extends again. The robot says that's kind of a wash. It actually doesn't change the game state very much. Everything else still applies. Biggest move, still just fix your problem. And once you fix your problem, then we can go back to thinking of running this group out or building, something bigger here, all sorts of things. I play this very slack move. This is such a greedy move. This is like, there's points down here for both people. If white plays here, black will, let's assume black gets almost nothing and white makes 6 points. When black plays here, black gets 12 and white makes nothing. So I'm looking at this as like a 20-point move. 20 points of move isn't big enough. And especially since the robot seems to think there's Aji in here. Okay, anyway, that's what I do. And white just comes out trying to strengthen the group and make sure this never grows into anything. Because I can still kind of harass this group. If this black group jumps out, I can harass this, make 20 points right there. That'd be a good game. All right, really imperative for black just to, fix. I fix this one. Wrong one to fix. If I fix here, this isn't a real problem, right? This group it doesn't have any eyes, but man, is it have a lot of liberties, and it's got multiple directions it can kind of run. So it's even just saying Tanuki, right? Or run the group out. This group can actually survive just fine. It's large enough and has enough liberties to be fine. But nonetheless, I was a little bit worried about it. And so in the game, I just backed off. And I also thought this was very proactive, and it also set me up to make an extra 10, 15 points with this attachment here. But now white cuts and cuts and extends, and white asks for a little bit more. This would probably be a good opportunity for me to just make this stronger, threaten to capture these 2 stones. And I'd have to play some sort of sad-ish connection. But that's all right. Actually, the robot really wants to fight here. Oh, God. Wow. And then run the group out. Wow. So robot's like, just give up all that. Just keep your stones and then take Sente. All for keeping this center group a little bit stronger and getting Sente. Wow. Amazing. Robot's so amazing. Well, anyway, in the game, I was like, well, I don't need to play this move, but it's big. And yeah, white plays there. This is a move. I just rushed to make shape too much. I couldn't figure out what else to play, but this is a good move. Like, if I'm really worried about, first of all, these 2 stones aren't important, and I can get more free stuff down here, and I can also fight. So there's a lot of ways for black to deal with this. My group is actually surprisingly flexible despite being surrounded by white stones. So I rushed to make shape, and then white played here. And I play, this is the game. So I'm just gonna clunk, make a nice little solid group right there, not have to worry about it. But you can see what happened is that over here, where originally the original plan was sort of just to chase white up, white ended up turning all these what would be dame points into 15 points of territory, like a solid 15 points of territory, and maybe more, right? With this wall kind of formation over here, white is very close to sealing in another, turning this Aji weakness and adding it to this 15 points with another 20, 25 points, right? There's almost 40 points here. So this is a disaster. And it kind of goes all the way back to me rushing to make shit. This one's fine. Like, this isn't terrible. It's only 66%. Of course, it'd be better if I just extended that way, period. But it really picked up when I just made shape here, right? Instead of running in the correct direction. So all this leads to a 17% win chance for black. Now here, black still has a good chance. Black doesn't need, like, black can either connect or live, like, so I don't need to play locally again. None of that is necessary. But this is still such a big move because not only does it prevent black from being harassed more, it's just going to lean on this white it's not going to let this white expand nearly as much. It's going to give white a problem. And so white will play there, and then I keep poking, keep looking. It doesn't look like there's anything there but there's a lot of really bad algae. Okay. Instead, I played the biggest move I could find on the board, which granted is pretty big. I think actually the only other move that's bigger, right, is this shoulder hit kind of move to, it's a similar idea, right, to this one. This one and this one are very similar in practice. But I played this one, I played the corner move. And this move is really big, especially since there's still algae with this stone, right? If white, let's say white, I don't know, does something like this, you could immediately see moves like this being kind of painful for white to deal with. There's still, this stone still has some Sente options right here, or like this, depending on how white does this. You can see how I might be able to connect here on the first line. Or if he takes, again, there's some algae in here that's pretty bad. And so this move felt huge to me in the game. And sure enough, it is. Like, it's a very big move. But white immediately pressed, this move's dumb, don't do that. Pressed over here once, and then came back and fixed it. And so I still have a chance, I just have to reduce this. Shoulder hit's the best way. I'm one line off, I'm too focused on just building my own territory, keeping myself safe. And white even plays this move, which gives me even more of a chance. I can now really threaten. You have to find all these little cuts, which is difficult, but possible. Oh, wow. This is a giant exchange. I hate these giant variations that lead to giant exchanges, like corner for 3 stones here, or attack on 3 stones. But you can see black is kind of actually getting in. Even though white's profiting, we're reducing the big thing. We're going to use these stones again. It's going to happen. We didn't do any of that. None of that happened. Instead, I just kind of cowered. And now white got to play this. I play a kind of a bad move here. Not this one. But I shouldn't respond. This one. Particularly bad. Right now is a good time. I have to go in. Last chance. Last chance to do something. I just play here. Too sheepishly. White makes another weird exchange. It's fine. White backs off. And I still have another chance here just to, again, create trouble. And I don't. I play some big endgame over here. Some more endgame over here. Over here. I'm just poking, and I'm like my count of the game was really close. I was like, okay, this is like a dead even game. So I'm just going to take all my pokes right now and hope that I can win by, 2 points. Well, it turns out I get sucked into this thing up here. And so this doesn't go very well because I'm going to lose all these points. I'm going to get a little compensation, but this is all just threats. You can see, let's see what I get. Let's get to the, zoom forward to the end of the It goes on for a while. Where's the end of the It's got to be coming soon. There it is. Okay, so here I make a threat here to capture 2 stones and also poke up. And white finishes the So I poke here. White fixes, and I extend. So these 2 stones are mine, but that's not a big enough compensation for the point for capturing the stone and all the point loss here. So we play some more endgame. But hold on, we're gonna go to that spike. I'm just zooming forward. These are all little endgame pokes. And here we go. So at this point, all the territory is pretty much sealed in. As the game stands, the game ended with white winning by 4.5. So black's got to find about 4.5 points somewhere on this board. And I play this 2-point Hane. And the correct response for white is to take the stone. And black can get 1 extra point, but that still makes it a white win. I think white would win by 2 in this case, but 2.5. But in the game, white plays here. And oh my god, is that a dangerous thing. Because now this move that the robot has been yelling at me the whole time, the whole game to play, and this is not on my radar because I still just can't bring myself to run out weak groups. It's such a weakness. Robot's like, you gotta do it. You gotta do it. You can even start with this Atari, and then you do it. And you can see there's a problem now. White needs to fix over here. And then black gets to kind of link this up. And those two by themselves, that's actually not enough to change the flow of the game, but actually gets black a few extra points. If white makes a mistake, then the game's over, right? But if white plays everything correctly, it's going to make it a much closer game than 4.5. And I'll show you what this allows you to do. Let's play here. Actually, why does even black just wants to take a poke here? Okay. Get that off the board. Because yes, now do you see? White has to come back and get these off the board. And that means black gets to connect up here. And then fix. So black's actually going to get about another 3 points in this version. Version of reality. And so it's still not enough to win the game. But oh man, instead of we're like it's like a 1-point game now. And it was all because, or this is all possible because white made a mistake here, and now these 2 stones still have Aji, and I have to just bring them out. Even though they're dead, it's such good Aji that white will have to waste moves coming back and capturing off the board, and while white's doing that, I can connect underneath and make a few more points. It's great, except it doesn't. It's like a 1-point loss. It's so close to turning the game around. So, in conclusion, this is my greatest weakness, right? Having these groups, turn off the robot, you know, that are kind of weak, that are you know, they're light stones. I tend to treat my light stones too lightly, and I just don't invest the time in reading it. And you know, all of you have something like this in your game, and I'm gonna encourage you to try to find out what that is. What are your blind spots? What are the moves in your game that you're just not used to or inclined enough to read out or investigate? And for me, so much of it is just, whoops, you know, these sorts of moves, right? Where I'm just going to kind of go behind enemy lines, connect 2 things, and commit to something. Commit to a weak group and fight my way out. Maybe for you, it's life and death. Maybe you just don't invest in doing life and death enough, so you don't ever actually like kill your opponent because you don't read out how to poke out their eyes. Or maybe it's you just have a blind spot against capping moves when your group is running, and you know it wants to go this way. What about capping it? Is that a move that is on your radar? And if you're not reading it out, like you're missing out on a lot of good, you know, attacking opportunities. So we all have these things. Like, I'm not saying anyone's perfect or anyone, you know, everyone knows everything or has a chance to know everything. But smoothing out some of your weaknesses are going to make you a much stronger Go player. These weaknesses are often the reason why you'll play against someone who's exactly your strength and have like radical wins and radical losses, right? Where the games are never close, but somehow they're your strength and you'll just trade wins and losses based on whether or not they figure out your weakness or you figure out theirs. And so, yeah, Go is psychological, and it's a great way to examine yourself and teach yourself discipline. And, you know, this is where I'm at in my own Go. I still have a problem running out weak groups, and this has been a long time. Like, I still have a problem committing. So, anyway, happy Halloween to all y'all. I hope at the very least you enjoyed my dinosaur costume.